I'm Deepthi. I am from Bangalore. My training is in civil and environmental engineering, and I worked for a couple of years at a firm called AECOM at the Bangalore office. I worked as an environmental consultant prior to joining the fellowship here. So I came to the City Scripts 2018, where I attended, I think, 2 days of events and a masterclass with GB here. And that was the first time I came to know about IIHS and that there's a fellowship going on. Of course, it took me some time to then, apply. Well, like I said, after working for a couple of years, you realize that the disciplinary training you have requires a little more breadth and depth in certain other areas to be able to continue working further, especially when it comes to you wanting to be an environmental engineer. I wanted to learn about different disciplines, and I thought this is a good place, especially since it's about the urban. The expectation was to have, I think, people from different disciplines come in and be in a space together and share ideas, share their experiences, and also to familiarize myself with subjects that are related to the Indian context particularly. Yes and no. Yes, in the sense that you have a really broad range, and the terms also in such a way that you have a lot of people who come and speak to you, and that's a really good, starting point. No, in the sense that there's not enough, I think, time to get into really the meat of the situation. It's just the way it is. It's not a complaint. I think with the time that we have, that was the way. It did, and it did have. So with the engineering, there were very strong allied areas that especially came out in the commons term. So something like environmental governance, infrastructure, and you had specific weeks for that, so that it did, yes. I think overall it's been really nice so far. You get to be in a place where there are lots of people with different disciplinary trainings as well as lived experiences. So I think that's a really good place, like a hotspot kind of a thing to be in, especially where I am in my career right now. Since the previous iterations, this one is changed in terms of the structure, and I think overall it's nice in the sense that they set you up for a foundation week, foundation term, go to commons, and then you get to choose your electives. I think I would have personally liked a little bit more time to sit with the learnings of each week within each term. So that helps solidify what you learn, because these are really new things you come across, and unless I think you sit with them and you see them around you wherever you are, it might take a little longer for it to then solidify as a concept in your head. Actually, the commons felt slightly more heavier in terms of the course load than the foundation, and that's understandably so. The commons was supposed to be a hybrid model, largely online, and you're still getting people coming into the course with different backgrounds. So you might have worked for a while, so it'll take you a little time to get back into studying and things like that. So it was, I think, well thought out more than balanced like that. Yeah. Commons term particularly, I think I really liked that. You from the foundation term, you get an introduction to the topics you're going to study in the commons term, and it begins to make sense to you a little more. Apart from that, I think I really like the electives that I've chosen and the advanced skill labs. It's built on obviously whatever's done previously, but it's much more hands-on, and I think there is a lot more takeaway, especially if you have a focus area. So those two have been quite nice. The practica, I think, in theory is a really good mechanism to get people from different backgrounds to come and work together. However, I do wish we had a little more, it was slightly more facilitated better, because at the time when it begins, you still don't have a shared vocabulary and you don't probably know where the other person's coming from. So I would say it needs slightly more to be slightly more facilitated from the institution's end. But otherwise, I think it works. Otherwise, yeah. A just field visits, I think, are required for anybody who's practicing in the urban. Um, there's just something that the field teaches you that no amount of theory can. And in terms of the practica particularly, you're all looking at the same place, right? At the same site, at the same street, sometimes at the same time. What is really nice about it is that what I might look at with whatever I've been trained in might be completely different to what another team member of mine might look at. And that, I think, brings in the aspect of, diversity and different perspectives, yeah. So I'm working on the assessment of the quality and quantity of historical waste in one of the ULBs of Karnataka. And we're proposing bioremediation as one of the processing, as ways of processing the waste. So the project itself has been nice in the sense that you get to understand at the waste management facility what are the issues, especially when you have waste that's been dumped over, say, 10 to 15 years, and then how do you go about clearing it? And it's been a first for me, even though, solid waste management is part of the theory. It's nice to get a hands-on experience about how you conduct these site visits and how these projects work end to end. Yeah. I'd say it still has a lot of people from the big cities, from the big metros, but you have quite a bit of representation from the northeast, from say tier 2 cities and things like that. So it's, for me at least, being from Bangalore, it's been nice to get to just get to engage with different people from different areas. I think my biggest takeaway, at this point at least, is that I've begun to look at the things that I want to work on in slightly differently, in terms of the length that something requires and in terms of the methods that some things require. The questions you ask, the inquiries you hold, then they have become distinct for me. And I used to have a lot of apprehension about approaching new methods, but I think that's gone now. So it's based on the question you ask, and then you have the appropriate method. So that's been nice. So far, we've had the Urban Lens and Urban Arc. And particularly after the second wave, we've, I think, had a change in the tone of these festivals as well. And it's a nice reflection of conversations we've had within the classrooms as well. And you find an extension of that in these festivals. So it's been good. Yeah, I think I just asked them to be open, and here you are in the mix of a lot of disciplines and a lot of perspectives. So have a degree of openness, and I think an approach that will help you navigate. It is a messy process. The process of being in the fellowship is going to take a lot from you, but it is definitely worth it. Go for it.